Jai Shri Krishna to all. Welcome to Path to Anandam Gita series. Freedom from pains and miseries to happy, healthy and peaceful life. Based on Srimad Bhagavad Gita and then 108 mantras to awaken your soul. And pranam to Guruji, Hariharji Maharaj, with his blessings, his guidance. We are all here together. With his guidance, whatever you see here, foundation of Path to Anandam, the purpose of Path to Anandam is how can we get out of the daily miseries which are caused by our anger, our desires, our resentments, worries, daily worries, stress, and how to live righteously with very simple yet very easy techniques, spiritual practices based on Bhagavad Gita. And with his guidance, I would say his Adesh, all these books have been written and shared. And with his blessing, have become #1 bestseller on Amazon. With his guidance, the teachings for more than 25 years of Bhagavad Gita is going on in the many parts of the world, and now including the Zoom, personal teachings, conferences, seminars, webinars. So thank you very much, Guruji, for coming in our life, in my life, and now in everybody else's life, and for your blessings. And today's subject is how to become your eternal self-witness. And you might be wondering where this subject all of a sudden pops up. What is it? And let me tell you, once you know about it, you'll be so amazed that we do it every moment of our life, not realizing it, but doing it for the worldly part and not for our own sake. So we will learn from that. So today's contents are based on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 41, 42, and 43. How can I control my selfish desires, which is coming up for last several sessions? What is self-witness? And how to become one? And what kind of actions can we do? Practice. And how can I call that I am divine? I am eternal self-witness. And we will talk about the tips of the day. But just want to mention that our previous session was beware of your eternal enemies. So still it carries on, though we have added one more spiritual practice today. So let's all pray to Lord Krishna for helping us, guiding us, and removing our confusions in our life. So we are looking for his guidance with our humble surrender and become an Arjuna, because that's what Arjuna became when he asked for it with these prayers. Then Lord Krishna blessed him and poured all the Gita Gyan in the midst of biggest turmoil in his life, Kurukshetra war. So Gita was not given in mandirs or any other gatherings, but in a very difficult time. So let's all be Arjuna. Karpanye dosho pahate swabhava paschami tvam dharma sammood cheta yachyasyani nichitam bruhitan me shishyaste ham shadimam tvam prapanyam shishyaste ham shadimam tvam prapanyam. My heart is overpowered by the weakness of pity. I have lost all my composure and my mind is confused, filled with turmoil about my duty, confusion, what to do and what not to do. I'm requesting you, please tell me what is definitely good for me so I can do that. And I am your disciple. So I surrender to you. Please instruct me. And as I अब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में. You are my charioteer of my life. I'm giving you the reins of my charioteer. Please advise me. So let's all go on this blissful journey for self-purification, self-transformation, and uplift our consciousness and experience who am I, Satchit Ananda. So in today's session, Gita is tailored, where Arjuna has become a student and Lord Krishna is guiding him step by step through the spiritual instruction manual to operate our life righteously. We are talking about righteously, still it is going on the Karma Yoga. It teaches us how to recognize our limitations, that what stops us not to perform our duty through spiritual practices and attain eternal happiness, peace, anandam, not just at the time of death where many people think Gita is only when somebody is dying. No, Gita is for every moment of our life. So living in this material world and beyond, experience who am I, my true nature. I am no different than God. God and I are one. And this is what Swami Hariharji preached it, practiced it all of his life and guided all of us. But his first message was, be Arjuna. Then everything will flow. Accept your shortcomings, accept it, and then God's blessing will pour on you. So Lord Krishna's advice to Arjuna, in the language of Kshatriya, because he did not understand that he was Atma and body is temporary. But he says, okay, he understands the language of Karma Yoga. So as a Kshatriya, let's explain him, perform his duty righteously, and how to control his selfish desires, and how to see yourself beyond it. So why and how to do Karma Yoga? That was Arjuna's question, and that is all of our question. Karma, we do karma all the time. What does it Karma Yoga means here? Very simple. Any action that brings us closer to God, unites us, makes us realize who we are, how to live in this world, and every action we do, that becomes dharma. So karma to dharma. And that's why it is called, this is the foundation of our self-realization. Very first step. Why? Because we perform action all the time. So what is the purpose? The purpose is to self-purify. सारे विषय विकार मिट जाते हैं. सेवा करने से. Seva means selfless action. Selfless action means not just for myself, but caring and sharing. And what is the process? When we do seva, we feel such a big pleasure, and we feel like giving more and more, doing more and more. And we feel so happy, so peaceful, so calm, which affects our entire life, makes us healthy, happy, and peaceful. But the requirement is that self-purification. The process is self-purification. When we start removing calm, krodh, loh, moh, ankar, little by little, our worldly desires, our anger, our attachment, greed, unduly greed and unduly attachment, then our ego goes down, our false pride goes down, but our self-esteem comes up, and we feel, yes, I can do it, like Arjuna, Karishye Vachanam Tav. And we realize by that time that I am no different than God. God is with me. So that wisdom comes to us by self-transformation. Little by little, our bad habits start dissolving. Aadat buri sudhar lo ho gaya bhajan, my favorite phrase, which means little by little, if we come out of our shortcomings, then we can experience it who we are. But karma yoga is the key here. Arjuna and Krishna, before Arjuna couldn't do it, but then he marched with Lord Krishna and he says, Karishye Vachanam Tav. There are many ways we can do karma yoga, not just we have to be in Kurukshetra war to do that. We can do it in kitchen, we can do it in house, we can do it at our job, we can do it anywhere we are. We can do through meditation, gardening, anything. And Swami Chidanandji, who is the head of Paramath Niketan, he's such a good karma yogi. He teaches how to be karma yogi, true karma yogi, cleaning the streets, picking up the garbage. I remember going to so many places and just pick up the garbage and clean the, and he was the first one who initiated this and brought the awareness of not use of plastic, the damages of the plastic. So here comes, we have already spoken about it, but I just wanted to re-emphasize and just bring the why we chosen this today's subject. Because I think you recall that when Arjuna asked that question, that we don't want to commit the sin, we want to follow our dharma, then what compels one? What makes us to commit sin? Even we don't want it. And then Lord Krishna explains to him, then what is it? And he says, this is our calm, Esha, Krodha, Esha, all these calm and Krodh. That is the main thing which resides in our Rajoguna, which is called the Raisic nature. It's a Mahanasho, Mahapapamam, and biggest enemy. Varinam, Shatru. Those makes us to bring us to miseries, makes us to commit our sins. We do wrongdoing because of our worldly desires, which are born with the Raisic nature. Passion. I want this, I want this. And if we don't get it, we get very angry. And due to anger, we do a lot of unwanted things and regret later on. which has been explained in previous verses many times. And favorite one is Dhyayato Vishyan Punsa Sangasteshu Upjayate Sanga Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodho Vijayate Krodha Bhavati Samoha Samoha Smriti Vibhrama Smriti Bhranshat Buddhi Nasho Buddhi Nasha Pranshati. When we are angry, our wisdom goes out of the window. Our calmness goes out of the window. We forget who we are. And then, with so much passion, what we want, our greed takes it over. Our desires take it over. Our emotions takes over. And buddhi nasha. And when the wisdom is gone, intellect is gone, discrimination of good and bad is gone, we forget what to do, what not to do. So he says, these are the biggest enemies, the biggest barriers. It clouds, like a sun is clouded by clouds. It clouds our wisdom. And behavior, demonic behavior, characteristics come out. And we do many misdeeds, which brings a lot of miseries in our life. We become unhappy about it. So, in other words, selfish desires, me, mine, are the biggest cause for Ashanti, root cause of all the miseries in our life. So think about it. When was the last time I got into trouble? What was that desire? What was that anger which brought me to that regression stage? I regretted that. I wish I had not said that. I wish I had not done this. Once we start paying attention to those things, then we are on the path of self-improvement. So this is the problem. We identified the problem. Lord Krishna has given us that this is your problem. Now he also tells us what is the solution. He simply says, desires, you are going to have the desires while you are living in this world. Without desires, you cannot have goals. You cannot live. Even when we are talking here, this seminar, this Zoom webinar, there is a desire to give that. But if I do it for my own name and sake, that is my selfish desires. And if sometimes it doesn't happen properly and all that, I get very upset, right? Because I'm doing it for myself. My ego is got hurt. What will people think about it? How would it people take it? How will it is my insult and all that? That's my selfishness. But then I just say, I am doing my best. Whatever God is guiding me, Guruji's motivational is coming to me, and just do my best and just let it go. So I'm not doing it for myself. I'm just doing it because I'm learning more, and hopefully other people learn as well, and they practice and bring some calmness in their life as well. That is the only motto here. And that is called selfless desires. Sarva bhutite rata, not for myself, but for doing for others. That is called sattvic desires. Though at the end it says even we should not have those desires. But while living in this world, this is a step-by-step process. So we have to go from our tamasic desires to rajasic desires to sattvic desires, and then become the gunatit, means let it be. Nothing is there anymore. So through seva, karma turns into dharma. We experience love, peace, anandam. All this unhappiness disappears. And then we become very calm, healthy, happy. and our body, mind, soul, all aligned together. But the key is here. Here it says, focus on your needs, not on wants. There is enough in this world. Mother Earth has given enough. Lord has given enough for everyone to live, but not for the fulfill the greed. So final advice of Lord Krishna. Here it comes. He says, Tasmad indriyado, indriyo, niyamam bharat varsha, papamanyam prajati honyam, gyan vigyan nashnam. He said, Tasmad, therefore, O Arjuna, by controlling your senses from the very beginning, kill this sinful destroyer desire which obstructs the knowledge, wisdom, and discrimination. So where do the desires come from? The desires are born through our senses. Whatever we taste, we want more. We want taste good things. Sometimes chaat, sometimes golgappa, sometimes pizza, sometimes whatever, but my tongue wants it because my tongue is a sense organ. I want to hear, my ears make me to hear different type of music, different gossips. Then my eyes like to see good things, sometimes want to see different, all kind of soap operas, different kind of movies which excite us, which kind of all this, these many unwanted things, or which brings a lot of pollution to our mind. We look at those things. We want to smell good things, flowers. We don't want to smell bad things. We want to have a good touch. All these wants, I want this, I want this, I want this. All this sense organs takes us to desire. So it says how to control senses and desires. Here, Lord Krishna says, put ceiling on your desires. Satya Sai Baba says, put ceiling on your desires, which we just talked about it. So in order to put a ceiling on desires, we have to learn to control our senses. Eat whatever is needed for the body, not just for the tongue. Hear what is a good music. We bring the calmness to us and see the goodness in everybody, in every situation. And today we are going to witness that part, which is the further I will be explaining. And smell the good things and touch. But how to do that? And Lord Krishna gives another advice. He said, do spiritual practices. Very simple. We do it all the time. We do some actions. Why not do the actions which takes us, liberates us to the next level? So here he says, Evam buddhe param buddhva, sastabhya atmanam atmana, jahi shatru mahabhao, kam rupam durasadam. He says that knowing the self to be superior to intellect. Here he says, self means Atma here. Then mind and senses. One should purify and steady the mind through regular spiritual practices. In other words, we have to do practices of all these spiritual practices for self-purification, which we have talked about before, starting from our mouth, how to speak, what to eat, what to say, what to not say. It says, Anudvekaram Vakyam Satyam Parhitam Cha. Satyam Parhitam Cha. The one speak the truth, but not the way you speak, which raises other people's blood pressure and say, look, I said so, you did not hear it. All those things, we just simply give our messages with a sweet voice. Learn how to communicate with respectfully. With respect, we should treat others. We have also heard about during the meditation, we practice how to hear. And in fact, in last session, we had the silence one where we practice how to hear and how to see goodness in other people. That's another practice. Here, the 5 monkeys are the symbol of what to think. Dhyato Vishan Punsa. Dhyan is the one which causes a problem. So if we have some bad thoughts, negative thoughts, then our mood changes. So we should think good. We should see good. We should hear good. We should speak good. And also do the seva, do good. So this is a seva. These are the spiritual practices which we are talking about. So it says mind through regular spiritual practices. Thus, with this spiritual strength, our mind becomes so strong. We are not the slave of mind. As it says, mind is the best friend or enemy. So mind should be our slave. Then we are in control. But when mind becomes our master and we become the slave, it causes the disaster in our life. So that's why he says when the mind becomes strong, then we are control of ourselves. Then we can have a control on our senses and kill the enemy of that lust, difficult to conquer, which is not easy. He tells us it is difficult. However, when we do these spiritual practices, meditation, mantras, prayers, silence, which we practiced last week, so I added this year, and then self-witnessing, which we will be speaking in next slide. But basically, controlling our senses. Once we control our senses, then we can become the master of our life only through spiritual practices. There is no other way around it. So here he explains another verse, just prior to the final verse in chapter 3:42. He says, Indriyani, Pareani, Ahu, Indriyabhya Paramana, Manastattu Para Buddhir, Yo Buddhe Paratasutsa. The senses, Sushma senses, he's not talking about the organs here. He's just saying the senses are said to be higher than the body. The mind is higher than the senses. The intellect is still higher than the mind, but Atma is even higher than the intellect. What he's saying is our body is right here. He's talking about physical body. And then the senses are higher. Here it senses means not just which I showed before, not just see here, not just the mouth, not just the ear, not just the nose, not just the skin touch, not just the eyes. Okay. Here is senses. Senses mean the sensation. The sensation which is all in these organs, they're higher than the physical body. In other words, tongue is just what? Just the structure of the cells, tissues. But the sensation is so strong. We can feel our tongue. But the sensation, what is in the tongue, that which a taste. And then the nose. It's not talking about just this nose. It's talking about the senses, the smell part of it. Not talking about just the eyes, but what we see, the senses behind this eyes, the eyesight. And then the touch, we touch with our hands. It's just not the physical hands, but when we touch, we feel it. That's the senses he's talking about. Here he's talking about the mind, not the brain. Brain is the physical part of the body. So he's saying that all this physical body is there, but the senses are superior. Nose could be there, but or eyes could be there, but when the eyesight is gone, one becomes blind. Then what are the eyes are going to do? The sensation, the eyesight, that is stronger than just the physical eye. This is what he means by this is called a part of our Sushma Sharira. So these senses, which you cannot touch it, you cannot touch the mind. Doctor can operate on the brain, not on the mind. That's where he says the body is there, but the senses are higher than body. But then the mind, which controls the senses or each other, that's higher than that. And then intellect is higher. And the spirit is so in Upanishad is explained so well. What does it mean? So he says these senses, these horses, this compares with a chariot. Here is a chariot. There are 5 horses, which are our senses. And these senses are running after what? After these organs, these senses are running after the senses of seeing. Eyes want to see something better, so they want to go to movies, they want to go to different places, they want to do different. And then nose is running after some good smells, tongue is running after some taste. So all these 5 organs are running after objects. So what is their road? What is driving them to run? These senses, or these 5 horses are running after these senses. Wants and just wants, likes and dislikes. I like this, I want to go there. So this path, pave of the road is paved with this senses. Horses are running on it. But now look at that. Who is holding the rein of the senses? The mind. Mind is right in the middle, right here. So he's holding the rein. घोड़ों की लगाम is mind के हाथ में है. You can see it here. This is, but who is holding the reins? Our buddhi, intellect right here, which discriminates. And horses are running in different direction, and mind is right in the middle here. So now the buddhi is pulling the horses back, mind back, that this is not the proper direction. Your purpose of life is different. And here you are running after senses. So it's guiding the buddhi. But now look at that, mind is right in the middle. It could listen to the intellect, buddhi. But if the senses are stronger, 5 senses are stronger, then what will the poor buddhi will do? What would the mind will do? Mind is running, it's right in the middle. So if the buddhi is strong, then mind will be controlled. Then the mind can control the senses. But how could buddhi be controlled? This is a secret here. Who is sitting and watching all this? Who is sitting? This is the Atma. This is the consciousness. This is the spirit which is sitting on the top, higher than intellect, higher than mind, higher than senses, is directing that. So now, question comes, if this is what it is, then why can't the Atma direct the buddhi all the time? The answer is always given. If the senses are strong, poor mind goes there, pulled by the senses. But if we do a lot of spiritual practices, In other words, our intellect becomes stronger with the spiritual practices. Then anytime something happens, immediately our intellect, our buddhi, our Atma, they are so close to each other. Actually, it says this is the distance is like, imagine this is 100 miles, 100 feet. All this little by little, this is a 95 feet and this is a 5 feet only. Buddhi and Atma are so close with each other. The only problem is our senses, we are controlled by our likes and dislikes. So here again, the senses are said to be higher than body. The mind is higher than the senses. The intellect is still higher than the mind, but Atma, spirit, is ever higher than the intellect. Therefore, this Atma becomes the observer. So, self-witness. What is this self-witness? What is this Sakshi, where Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the inner Sakshi. I am that pure awareness. I am that Atma. Why? Because he's the highest. He says that because we observe, we are a 3 type of self, which is called the physical body, which is called the mental body, and the observing body. And today we are talking about the observing body, that pure Atma. So a witness is a direct observer. See, we hear this word witness. Who is a witness of my case? Who is a witness? This is used mainly in the worldly sense, more on the courts, that how many witnesses you have. We are talking about here the eternal witness, the self-witness, the Atma witness, which is called the Sakshi. And here it says, an observer distance himself from the constantly changing panoramic view of the body, breath, and mind. He rests in his own nature, Satchitananda. So here is the body. Here is the senses. Here is the mind. And now look at this Atma. Atma is higher than every, just shows a little bit light, but not the full body, just the representation of Atma. It's just doing constant practice through meditation and just observing who I am, who I am, who I am. And here actually it shows, if you look at this, this also represents the kosha, which we will talk some other time, that Anandamaya kosha is here. This is the Annamaya kosha, which is our physical body. This is our mind. This is our Manomaya kosha. This is our buddhi. This is our Pranmaya kosha, our breathing. And this is our Gyanmaya kosha, which is our buddhi. And this is our Anandamaya kosha, which is I am Anandamaya. I am nothing but I am Satchit Ananda. And that's what the Sakshi means here. So with our daily practices, we can become the Sakshi, and we will practice in the meditation that part. So how to become observer and witness? Basically, observe with the higher self. And when we put our ceilings on the desire and become anger free, we are self-purified, self-transformed, and then self-discipline. All these spiritual practices are nothing but a self-disciplining and cleansing our mind from all the previous sanskaras, whatever the programming has been in the software of our mind. It basically deletes all those old memories. Like we delete a lot of things from our laptop too, so it does not get stuck. Many times it gets stuck, then we just have to clean it and delete a lot of programs. So similarly, we have to delete a lot of our old memories, old things. But how we do it? By spiritual practices. But then Lord Krishna says the simple practice, since it is a karma yoga, yat karoshi yad asnasi yajhosi dadasi yat tapasvi konte tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, Whatever you eat, whatever you think, whatever tapasyas, spiritual practices, whatever you do it for the sake of your self-improvement. And he says, Konte means Arjuna. We are all Arjuna. So he's telling us directly right now. And then he says, do it and then let it go. Sarva dharma paritajye mamekam sharanam braj. Aham tam sarpapebhyo mokshashyami ma shucha. I will take care of it. Don't worry about it. So once we practice this, little by little, we become aware of our senses, start listening to more spiritual messages through spiritual practices. Our intellect becomes stronger, and then our mind is stronger. Mind is not slave anymore. He becomes a master of the senses. So one is my homework, is ask yourself, self-inquiry, self-inquiry, self-inquiry. Swadhyaya Abhyasnam, self-practices. Ask the question, what kind of spiritual practices I do? What kind of selfish desires do I have? How many likes and dislikes I have? Do I study spiritual scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Guru Granth Sahib, whatever appeals to you, Ramayana, whatever, all of them are filled with wisdom. Do I do my yoga, pranayama, meditation, calm my body? Do I do some seva? Because this is all talking about selfless service, how we can turn our karma into dharma. And then, do I help others? Do I put some ceilings? Do I ask myself, is this my want? Is this my need? And do I self-witness? Do I observe my senses? Let's see how my tongue is behaving. What does my tongue want? What do my eyes see? What do I hear? Do I hear gossip? Or can I shut down this gossip business in my life? What do I eat? What do I see? All these things, which is the practicing of 5 monkeys. So start with put ceiling on our desires, which lead us to seva bhav. Once we do the seva, then we become fearless, stress-free, because we feel so good. And then we say, let's do it for God, let's do it for the others, let's do it for others. Then our own fear and this stress start getting less and less. I call this is a way to detoxicate our body, mind, buddhi, cleanse our buddhi. And then the self-witnessing, observe our 5 senses, which direction they are going. Is my mind is controlled by my senses, or listening to the supreme powers of voice, my inner voice, which we talked about last time, talks all the time. If we become silent, so do I listen to my supreme power messages? And if I do, then I'm so calm. My life operates accordingly. I become equanimous. Wise, then I start experiencing happy, healthy, peaceful life. Who I am nobody but Satchitananda. God and I are one. And this is the path where one becomes from Karma Yogi to Dharmatma to Mahatma, and eventually experiences and all this which we have talked about, Sattvic, Rajasic nature, Sattvic, all this little by little move up and become to the higher conscious level. The final nectar we get, eternal happiness and blissful life. So our sankalpa of the week, of the day, sankalpa 22 is, I am sadhika. I do spiritual practices. And every activity in my life is a spiritual practice, my sadhana. And that takes me to experience myself, self-realization, God realization, which is the ultimate result we get, happy, healthy, and peaceful life. And through this Shanai Shanai Uppar Med, but this is our Sankalpa, and with this Sankalpa, little by little, we reach to ultimate here, Satchit Ananda. So thank you very much to attending how to become your eternal self-witness and put the ceiling on selfish desires and experience happy, healthy, and peaceful life. Satchit Ananda. Ultimate freedom from pains and miseries. So thank you very much for attending.